Very pleasure here to see you all. The topic is of course diabetes. First of all, the most important thing is diabetes is not a disease. It is not classified as a disease. It simply means, yeah, you have to really switch off the mobile. It only means high sugar in your blood. That is what is it. So for people like me, my weight is about 70 kg. So about 5 liter blood is running in my body. And for every liter of blood, about 2 gram of sugar is there. How much is 2 grams of sugar? About little less than half a spoon of sugar. So this means about 1 spoon of sugar in the total bloodstream is going. That is what is the normal blood sugar. But those whom we call as diabetes patient, instead of 1 spoon, maybe 1.5 spoon of sugar is circulating in the blood. This means that excess half a spoon of sugar, if you can take it out of the blood, you are no more a diabetes patient. That is so interesting and so important. You have been taking medicine for last 1 decade or maybe 2 decades. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you must understand how much is excess and you must know how to take that excess out. How much time it takes to take the excess out? Roughly, it has been more than 10 years I am in this field and seen more than 20,000 patients. So it takes for most of them, for 90% of the diabetes patient. When I say diabetes patient, you remember I am talking of those patients, those who are impatient actually. They've been diabetic for a long time and a lot of complication already happened. That is the kind of patient who comes to me. So I'm talking for those kind of patients, it takes about 72 hours to take out that excess sugar out of the body. And once they are able to achieve it, then they are no more a diabetes patient, normal blood sugar. So the reading comes normal. And that you can do it, and that you can do only without medicine. With medicine you can never achieve. First of all, we have to understand 2 important things. Why there should be a sugar in the blood. Right now, at this moment, you are able to listen to me, you are able to understand, most important, you are alive. So we are having collection of cells, millions of cells all over the body. And each of the cell, to live, it needs energy, continuous supply of energy. And blood as a transporter, it supplies the sugar as a primary source of energy. And the sugar is burned in the cell, converted into energy, and it is that energy which is keeping us alive. Sugar is good or bad? Because of sugar we are alive. Good or bad? It's good. High sugar is good or bad? High sugar means too much of energy, isn't it? Doctor says, oh, you have very high sugar, you're happy, this means I'm full of energy. How can it be bad? So, sugar when circulating in the bloodstream, too much of sugar circulating in the bloodstream is something like this hall. Each of the cell, you imagine like this hall, your city, Singapore is your body. So, some of the seats are still not full because we just got a call, people are still stuck in the traffic or something, delayed, and they are still arriving. Delayed. Most of the people on the street, they are not at the place, right? So cells in your body is waiting for the sugar, hungry, but sugar stuck in the transportation system, which you call the blood vessel circulatory system. So that is what is called diabetes. If excess sugar is there in the transportation system, this means there is a traffic jam, and that means each of the cells like this, they are hungry for more people. We are hungry, let the seat be full, right? People want to come, we want them to sit here, but there is a gap, the delay. Delay because there is too much of traffic. So when the sugar is too much in the blood, that means too much of traffic, and that itself slows down the circulatory system. And that is which organ of the body will affect the most? First of all the organ, because each and every cell needs sugar, right? So, which kind of disease one can have? All the disease, right? So, but which one will happen first? Heart disease or kidney failure or eye? It depends, now it depends on your genetics now, right? So if your ancestor died of heart disease, it is not destined that you are going to die of heart disease. But if at all, your sugar is stuck on the traffic, then when the body need to choose which is the first organ to get affected, then it depends on now what is your genetics, what is your ancestors' blueprint. So then it comes genetics. Genetics comes too late. So we need not to worry about genetics. Only we need to worry that excess sugar which is stuck in the on the street, we have to just take it out, that excess sugar, and if you can do it, then the things will become normal. Right? That is very, very important. And we have to also see, once I have achieved it, once you have achieved it, you have to see that it should remain like this for rest of the life. That is, becomes your responsibility. Right? Like a emergency traffic management system, for a while they manage the traffic, but if they go away, again the same chaos may be there. So first, throwing out the excess sugar, and second, ensuring that excess sugar should not get accumulated again. So it is a lifelong commitment for you, for us. So there is no medicine for it, the most important thing. And the kind of medicine which you are taking and thinking that these are the diabetes medication, just think again, is it really a diabetes medicine, the kind of medicine which you are taking? So think of the first time when you were told you are a diabetes patient. The first reaction, you did not accept. How can I be a diabetes patient? I had never been a diabetes patient in my life. How suddenly I can be a diabetes patient? And that is true for everybody. Whoever is a diabetes patient, at one point of time he was not a diabetes patient. And suddenly one day, because of some reason, oh, you're a diabetes patient, glucometer reading, right? Then you look around and you see many people of your age, they had been already taking medicine for quite some time. And also people around you and the doctor, they convince you for a while, and after that you accept as a diabetes patient, and you know that I have to take a small pill, and with that pill blood sugar will come down to normal, and I can go on in my life. And so you take a small pill, blood sugar came down to normal, but till few months. And after that, in spite of taking the medicine, your blood sugar shoots. Now what are you going to do? You'll go back to the doctor. Doctor, I'm taking that medicine, in spite of that my blood sugar, it went up. What do you think the doctor will do? He will increase the dose. With little increase of the dose, you come back and you start taking it, again blood sugar comes at a satisfactory level, but only for a few months. And after a few months, in spite of taking the higher dose of medicine, what happens? Your blood sugar shoots up again. Now what you are going to do? Of course, you'll go back to the doctor. What do you think what he is going to do? He is going to increase the medicine, different kind of medicine, same medicine, more dose. And with a very, very high dose of medicine, you came back, and now you are again, the life resumed, everything seems to be normal, blood sugar is normal, only for few months. And again your blood sugar came up. What do you do now? Of course, you'll go back to the doctor, same doctor or different doctor. What do you think the doctor will do now? He will increase the medicine, either it is a pill or insulin. So this will keep on happening till the time the patient either loses his life or loses all his money. Why we think that this is a diabetes medicine is controlling blood sugar? It is not controlling blood sugar. Had it been controlling blood sugar, so why you need to increase the dose after a few months? It is accumulating more medicine, accumulating more symptom, accumulating more disease. So the kind of medicine which you are taking currently are not a diabetes medication, right? So they temporarily, it looks like that they are controlling your blood sugar, but in real sense they are not contributing to your health. All those medicine which you are taking, most of the diabetes medicine, metformin, sulfonylureas, etc., these medicine, they came in the market at the time 1960, before 1960. That was the time when for any medicine to come on the market, they did not need a randomized control trial, RCT. Right? Just it was a case study, okay, it was assumed that blood sugar has come down, that means the patient is improving. There was no parameter other than this. So anything, any poison which can lower down your blood sugar can be approved as a medicine. That was happening till before 1960. So the kind of medicine which you are taking now, it did not come now, it was from the time when there was no RCT, randomized control trial, right? Randomized control trial means, let's say there are 200 people or 2000 people, and both are having high, all 200 people are having high blood sugar. So randomly, randomized control, randomly they pick up 100 people and giving them medicine, and rest of the 100 people let their blood sugar be up, and they are not put on medication. And now the scientists, they will follow these two groups for a few months or few years. That is called randomized control trial. Right? And then it becomes more clearer what happens after 1 year, what happens after 2 years, what happens after 10 years. So that then they keep on publishing after every few years, right? To know the actual consequences of taking medicine versus not taking medicine. And that is called randomized control trial. And this trial came in 1962. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, USA, they announced that any medicine to come in the market, first they have to go through randomized control trial. And also the medicine which is currently in the market, they also have to go through the randomized control trial, and till that time let it be in the market, and simultaneously let there be a randomized control trial. And all the medicine which were there in the market at that time, they went through randomized control trial, and the result came in 1972. That is a long-term result, 10 years of following up two groups of patients. And the result came that all the diabetes medicine, all, they are poisonous and they are killing people, they are increasing the mortality rate, death rate. So in 1972 when the result came, FDA decided that these medicines should be banned. After all, it is not improving the patient's life or the quality of life. That happened in 1972. But by that time the diabetes industry has grown to a size that it became a very big economy. So when something becomes substantial economy, when a lot of employment is associated with it, it cannot be closed down in one day. For example, cigarette smoking. Although the government knows, everybody knows it is injurious to life, it can kill you, it can give you cancer, but it is still surviving, it is still there in the market. Why? Because it is a big economy also. So the government, they think it is our responsibility, we cannot stop it, but yes, as a responsible government, what they do? They put a warning. Right? The smoking cigarette can be a cancerous or injurious to your life, and let the consumer decide. Right? So they give a clear picture, and now you decide. Clear picture, literally picture. In the picture on the cigarette packet, the picture of the cancer patients are there. You see the ugly picture kind of thing. So in spite of that, if you want to smoke, that is up to you. So they made you aware. At the same time, they are not compromising with the economy because of the cigarette industry. That is the point. So at that time, the same thing happened with diabetes medication. They decided, FDA decided, for every diabetes medicine, will write that taking diabetes medicine can kill you. It will increase the death chances. It is not good for your health. The similar kind of warning as it was as it is in cigarette boxes. But at that time in 1975, 40 top diabetologists of USA, they came together and they hired top lawyers of US to fight against FDA and to stop FDA from writing these two lines, cigarette smoking, like diabetes medicine is injurious to your health. So that was 1975. But the randomized control trial kept on happening. And recently, last 10 years, there have been some major randomized control trial, Accord trial, Advanced trial, UKPDS trial, VADT trial. There are 4 major randomized control trial whose result came in last 10 years. And many of them result came in last 5 years only. And all the result together, it says only one thing, that when you take medicine, first of all, high blood sugar is not good, but in high blood sugar, if you start taking medicine, it is worse, right? So that as a result, it was so compelling evidence that 2018, that is last year, 6th of March, guideline of diabetes changed. It is called Acp Guideline. So American College of Physicians, ACP, the highest authority in the field of lifestyle disease, right? It is bigger than ADA, American Diabetes Association. It is bigger body, bigger than IDF, International Diabetes Federation, right? So ACP guideline, that is a guideline which was launched last year. I just told you the date. Do you remember the date? 6th of March, right? So, and that the guideline, if you see that there are 4 statements that released, and the first statement itself says that the doctor must make the patient aware that this medicine is not good for health, and it can kill, and it can make you more sick. and let the patient now decide whether they want to take it or not. That's the first statement, right? So, and similarly, there are three more statements, all shocking and surprising, and eye-opener kind of statement, which I'm going to include in this today's talk. But my question to you, so yesterday we had a similar kind of talk in Kuala Lumpur, right? So, and I keep on having this kind of talk in many places all over the world. So my question to you, it had been more than 1 year since the guideline has changed, but did your doctor update you about the new guideline? The answer I know is no, right? So if I talk of India, it is the responsibility of Indian Medical Association, IMA, right? So to release the guideline for the normal public. But on 6th of March, on 7th of March, Indian Medical Association, they collectively made a decision that will not implement the new guideline. Similar to what happened in 1975 when 40 doctors, they protested against FDA and forced FDA not to write the statement. Similar thing happened in India last year, that Indian Medical Association together, they collectively decided that we will abandon this new guideline. Because new guideline, accepting or implementing new guideline means telling you that you had been taking medicine for last 20 years because I told you, but now I tell you, don't take the medicine from tomorrow. So what is going to happen? You will lose the faith on the doctor. So because of you, I've been taking medicine for last 2 decades and suddenly you're saying these are bad for you and you should not take it, right? So, and that is a big business loss, right? So that is what is my assumption, is a big business loss, and suddenly taking a U-turn, what you have been prescribing. So what I mean to say, in today's world, you have to be your own doctor. You cannot depend on the doctor for your own health. Now, in fact, the doctors are more sick than any normal public, you see. Right? A diabetes doctor, he is himself a diabetes patient, a heart doctor dying of heart attack himself, right? And that is very, very common, very, very common. So I took a survey a few years back in 10 top hospitals, right? And obesity department, head of department, they themselves, 9 of them were obese. So you see, there is no connection between the kind of treatment or kind of expertise he's having and his own health. There is no connection. So if he cannot cure himself, how can he cure you? He can treat you. That's why it's called treatment. Treatment is different from getting cured, right? So getting cured, only one person can do in this world, that is you yourself, because you are the one who stays with you for every moment of your life. So you should know your body more than anybody else. So now in India, the perception is that diabetes and obesity, it goes hand in hand, right? So India have been practicing, it is now more than 10 years. India about 8%, 8.8% diabetes patient, and mostly all of them are fat and very high prevalence of diabetes type 1. You understand type 1? Small children with diabetes. Small children, every time they want to eat a food, they have to take insulin. Right? We take it for granted. Anytime, anywhere, we can eat whatever we like. But type 1 children, they cannot. First of all, whenever they need to eat, they want to eat, step 1, what do you want to eat? Oh, I want to eat 2 bread. Then the mother will calculate how much carbohydrate is there inside, and accordingly how much corresponding insulin body needs, and that insulin body is not generating, unlike what is happening in our body. And then the mother will feed the baby, inject with the insulin, that quantity, that is calculated one, and now the baby is forced to eat 2 bread. Because if you eat only 1 bread and say, Mummy, I'm full, I cannot eat anymore, what will happen? Excess insulin, right? So he has to exactly eat the amount of what is decided for him. And that is kind of handicapped, right? And more children are type 1 than what you assume. When 1990, I passed out from school, 1991. So at my age, if you think of when you were going to school, how many children you know in your school life who were diabetes type 1? I'm sure that not a single one. In the whole schooling, not a single one. This term only you never have heard in your school life, right? But now every class, every section in the public school, you will find one diabetes type 1 child. I'm talking of India, one diabetes type 1 child. But majorly most of the parents, it is a taboo. They hide it. So maybe your neighbor child is diabetes type 1 and you may not know it. But I know it because many of diabetes parents, they come to me because diabetes type 1 is more critical than type 2. The whole life is in front of them, number one, and number two, every time they eat, they need to decide how much insulin to take, and that is really very miserable condition. So that is what is about India. And about 7 years back, I started a center in Ho Chi Minh City, that is in Vietnam. In Vietnam, diabetes prevalence is little less, but mostly the interesting thing is most of my diabetes patient in Vietnam is thin. They are thin. So there is a belief that if you become thin, you can become a diabetes patient, right? So here, why I am sharing this, because I want to tell you that there is no correlation between the amount of fat in your body and diabetes, right? So in Vietnam, the comparison, that there are less number of children with diabetes type 1 in comparison to India. And about 3 years back, we started a center in Kuala Lumpur, and that is in Malaysia. And Malaysia, the diabetes prevalence is double of India, about 16.5%. In Malaysia, there are two kinds of diabetes patients, my diabetes patient. One is fat diabetes patient and one is thin diabetes patient. As if it is a mixture of Vietnam population and India population becomes Malaysia population, right? And so is the percentage and prevalence of diabetes, that is exactly double, right? That is combined and double, more than that, there is a prevalence of diabetes patients in India. So that is what I have seen. So here, based on those patients whom I have treated in the last 10 years, about 20,000, so their experiences and what I saw, the behavior of the blood sugar, so I know it is very easy. Whatever might have happened to you in the last 10 years, 20 years, whatever treatment you might be taking, it is easy to come out of it. Rather, it is very, very difficult to stay a diabetes patient. It is easy to come out of it and free yourself of diabetes. And how to free yourself of diabetes, that is what I am going to tell you today. So here, before, the first thing is that the diabetes you can cure, and it is possible only after stopping the medicine. Along with medicine, you cannot be healthy, right? Because while you are taking medicine, you are forcefully bringing down the blood sugar. So did you ever think that I took a pill went somewhere in the stomach, must be it has gone to the blood, and after a few hours I checked the blood sugar, it is down. Blood sugar is down. But where the sugar went? Magically it vanished from the blood, but where it ended up? Did you ever think about that? So the medicine, what it does primarily, it takes the sugar out of the blood and it hides in the heart, it hides in the kidney, it hides in the inner layer of the blood vessel itself, it hides behind the eyes, retinopathy, etc. So did you really want that? You never wanted that, right? So your body sugar remains the same. Your blood sugar has reduced, but body sugar content remains the same. What happened is, for example, imagine that before you came, this place was dirty. So my team to welcome you, we cleaned everything. But instead of throwing all the dirt outside, right, so we thought let us hide it under the chair. Because anyway you will not able to see, right? But what will happen in the first appearance, it looks like, okay, it is clean. But when you sit for some time, it will stink, and then you will be uncomfortable. Get the point, right? So the first appearance, you see the glucometer, okay, the reading is quite okay, but inside you are not comfortable. Symptomatically you are sick, right? You are accumulating more symptom, more disease, and more medicine. So when you take any kind of medicine, your blood sugar reduces, no doubt, but what about your body sugar? Why do you think that when I take a medicine, the sugar is thrown out of the blood and magically it is thrown out of the body also? No, right? Yeah, it is true, it is thrown out of the blood. But important is where it is thrown. Interestingly, it is being hidden somewhere, and wherever it is being hidden, that organ is the one which is going to suffer the most. Right? So why the medicine will not work? Largely because it is just, I am taking the waste material from your eyesight and hiding somewhere in the room itself. So in real sense, I am not cleaning the room. Get the point? right? In real sense, I'm not cleaning. So you may get an impression at the first impression that everything looks to be clean, but in reality there is no change. Only thing is you're not able to see at the first sight, but after some time you may be able to feel it. The same thing happens in the diabetes with the diabetes medication. So diabetes medication is not a solution; it is rather a part of the problem, and that is not what is my opinion. Surely it is my opinion, but it is something which is medically proved, and that is why, because of this compelling evidence, last year the Acp Guideline, the rules were changed again. And this happened before 1972. They tried to ban, but could not. Even now, in spite of it, it had been more than 1 year, but still you are taking the same medicine. So it is a proof that it is a medical industry, not a medical science. Right? Medical industry, diabetes medicine, and medical science says more medicine means more death, and that is what is happening. Accord trial, advanced trial, all kind of trial if you see, and the meta-analysis means all trial together and giving the final verdict. That's called meta-analysis, right? So why I'm sharing all these things, because something your behavior has been for last 20 years that every morning or every evening you're taking a pill. So we have to break that behavior, right? So this means, and that can be broken only with the evidences, right? So only then you will be. And it is not just with blood sugar medication, it is with blood pressure medication, with cholesterol medication, with blood thinner, all the medicine, one by one, all the medicines. Okay, so if I talk of blood sugar, diabetes, I have to talk of blood pressure also, because you will rarely find patient with diabetes only. Try to understand this. Right? You will not find patient, I am a patient only with diabetes. That is about 20%. 80% of the people who had started their journey as a diabetes patient, but eventually they collected heart disease, they collected hypertension, they collected kidney failure. So it is a collection of disease. So, and the first thing which happens is after diabetes is high blood pressure. Right, and this means about 73% patients who are taking diabetes medication are also taking high blood pressure medication. So whenever my patient, I treat the patient, just addressing the diabetes and not addressing the rest of the things, this means ultimately he is in discomfort. Right, so now we have to talk here about blood pressure also. First of all, what is blood pressure if I ask you, or if I show you? High blood pressure leads to heart disease, or heart disease leads to high blood pressure. Which one seems to be true? Number one or number two? Okay, let me put it this way. You go to a doctor, and what the doctor is more likely to say? High blood pressure leads to heart disease, or heart disease leads to high blood pressure? First or second? First. Your doctor will say, oh my God, you are having high blood pressure, you will suffer heart disease, you will die of heart attack. That's how. Doctor will never say, oh, you are having heart disease, you will have high blood pressure. Right? It seems too funny, the second one, right? Now let's try to understand from the beginning, and analyze it once again. Imagine it is a pipe, water pipe, and I put the pipe on the tap. I switch on the tap and the water is flowing through the pipe. I squeeze the pipe, water pressure will increase or decrease? Increase. Lesser the diameter of the pipe, more is water pressure. Very clear? Now imagine it is a blood vessel, right? Instead of water, blood is flowing. Now, because of the kind of lifestyle we are having, inside the blood vessel there is a blockages. When the blockage happens, the blood vessel diameter, it increases or decreases? So lesser the diameter, more the blood pressure. Blood pressure is higher. So when the blood pressure is high, that means there is some blockage already. And blockage is called heart disease. Right? 80% heart disease is because of the blockage. So blockage and heart disease are the similar terms. So now again you think, is it the high blood pressure which is causing heart disease, or the heart disease causing high blood pressure? First or second, which seems to be more true? Second. Since you are having heart disease, so it is leading to high blood pressure. High blood pressure is not the problem, it is the outcome. Right? Like there is a fire alarm. So it rings means, it bells means there is a fire. Since there is a fire, so it is alarm is ringing. It is not because alarm is ringing, so fire is there.